I made a 1 on the side, which is always the goal. Control the cue ball quite good. And we have a shot.
The key of the layout is like 4, 5, 6, 7. Like more towards the end, how you get good angle on the 7 to make it easy for 8 and 9. I would just try to have a little angle on the 3 that we can play position towards the center of the table. And once we're here, we can just play automatic position on the 5 wall, kind of running into it.
There's only a little angle, so it's going to be tough to go over the short cushion back to the center. Just play from here to keep the angle, or I can play with inside, which is always hard to play. Then I might land too straight. As long as I can keep the angle, it's always about the angle. So if you land too straight on the 4, you're limited with the shots you can play. So that's why, I mean, of course, it's going to be a longer 4 ball, which you actually want, but sometimes you have to take, your medicine. So that's why we'll just leave the, like more space towards the 4, but as long as I have angle, I can maneuver.
I would guess we're playing the 5 into the side afterwards, so we have options for a side and corner pocket.
Went a little too far, but I can still, try to make the 5 and maybe move the 9 a little. I could, also try to avoid the 9, but I then have to draw. But I would just try to focus on making the 5 and make it more comfortable for myself. So means I go more flat into the ball and go into the 9. I knew I was going to hit the 9 and it will flow to the 7, but it was probably harder to go a little more angled into the ball and draw it. So just want to make sure to make the 5 and have a better chance to run out the rack.
I would probably consider going 2 rails for position on the 7. Hold the cue ball here so we can naturally go 2 rails back in line for position on the 8. So that would be my goal, just focusing on.
Yeah, with that plan also you get rid of the 9 ball, that it can be a possible chance to hook yourself. When you use the second cushion, get out of the table and leave you a little angle, you always have, in mind that you can have trouble with the 9. So if you just leave the cue ball here, you have the angle naturally going into the 2 rails, come back to the 8, and then you avoid all the problems. Yeah, that's perfectly done. And as I said, I just can, by checking the angle of the stop shot, it's like a natural thing with a little of left-hand spin, coming back to the center of the table. Maybe like here, have less angle, and then you just come over the long rail, back to the center, or draw maybe a little for the 9, and that's it.
So it looks like we have perfect position, and I would just go 1 rail right into that area for the 9 ball. Sometimes you have to make a decision in those kind of situations if you consider doing 2 rails, which you could do if the 9 ball is a little more below, and the 8 ball, sometimes it's a little further, like closer to the rail. Then the closer the object ball is to the rail, the cue ball just gets faster. But since the 8 ball is far away from the rail, I can easily slow it down because it will naturally just lose some case on its way. So yeah, my target is right in that area.
Bit too far, but still okay. So what I do is just look on the pocket line, see the ghost ball, be in line of the shot. There you go.
Yeah. So I think definitely was not the perfect rec since I messed up in fairly easy position on the 5 ball, which really shouldn't happen in that kind of situation.
I would say the key was the shape on the 3 ball, because I had less angle. I had to leave you the longer 4.
Yeah.
So if you come closer, it's of course easier to control the cue ball, but it happened. We had to deal with it. It still went good, but sometimes.
I think it's just another good example of not everything you plan always goes perfectly smooth, especially during tournaments in the heat of pressure, or like certain situations. Even playing on a club table, sometimes with that kind of ball, if you just want to roll it off the rail a little, sometimes the rail is a little bouncy, so, and it still can happen.
Yep.
So yeah, it just happens and you always have to make the best out of it.